Well, 2 days ago, there was supposed to be a bunch of people talking before me, and it didn't quite happen that way. I ended up opening the show, and I hate to go first. Maybe it's why I'm a silver and bronze medalist. But I ended up going first. For those of you who do not know my background, my father is Trinidadian, and my mother is Jamaican. So I have this constant pull between my affinity and my love for both places. The reality is, it's like having two kids. You don't love one kid more than the other one, and even if you do, you certainly don't tell. So people ask me all the time, which do I enjoy more? Which country? And listen, there's lots to love about both countries. But if I'm being honest, and honesty has been our theme throughout these last 2 days, as much as I love the place where I was born and raised for 14 years, I have this special place in my heart for Jamaica. And it's not just because my mother was born there. It's because when I'm taking a trip to Jamaica, from the time I get to Fort Lauderdale International Airport, the guys who are helping me with my bags have already started. What do you think's going to happen this year? Is Shelly Ann Fraser-Price going to be able to defend her title? And that's not to say that it gets any better. When I touch down in Jamaica and people see me, now mind you, Jamaica gets NBC as well. The conversation and the dialogue that happens in the country of Jamaica is 24/7, 365 track and field, athletics. What happened, what's happening now, what's going to happen. That sort of passion for athletics is something that I wish that we could duplicate in every country in the world. The sort of passion where you live it, eat it, sleep, breathe it. That's the sort of passion that I have for this sport. And I know many of you have a very similar passion. Just about everybody who has been on this stage in the past 2 days has that sort of passion. But I think what this conference has taught us is that just having that passion is not enough. It almost becomes like the guy who's married to the lady, and they've been married for 5 years, and she turns to him and she says, "Hey, you haven't told me you love me in a very long time." And the guy looks back at her and he's like, "We still married, aren't we?" This passion that we have for this sport has to start to manifest itself in the form of action. And everybody has their role to play. The sponsors, the athletes, the teachers, the coaches, the media, and of course, certainly, the federations and the people whose official jobs it is to administrate this great sport of athletics. When I was contacted first about being a part of this global athletics conference, my concern was probably not what you would think it is or what it was. My concern was, who else are you bringing? Are the people who are going to show up in Durban, South Africa, going to be the sort of people who, yeah, we come out here and we talk and we have a great dialogue and everybody pats each other on the back and then that's it? Or are these the sorts of people who not only do they demonstrate this passion, but they are willing to come to Durban, listen to ideas which may contrast to even some of their own most deeply held ideas, have an open mind, and then take some of that knowledge back to wherever they're from, or whatever sphere of this athletics world that they're from and be willing to say, you know what? I felt a certain way, or I was kind of sure about something before this conference, but now I'm really sure. And now that I'm really sure about it, I am going to make sure that the information that I learned in Durban, South Africa, didn't just stay in the auditorium. It didn't just stay in the halls outside of the auditorium when we talked about what we did right and what we did wrong. That passion that I have, this woman, athletics, that I'm married to, I'm going to go back and I'm going to remind her why I fell in love with her in the first place. I'm going to show her that it's one thing for me to talk about how much I love her. I am going to take certain steps so that not only do I show my love for my sport, but I'm going to get other people to understand why I'm passionate about it. This Global Athletics Conference, by any measure, has been, I think, more than all the participants and the organizers could have possibly imagined. But this is just the spark. And now it's up to all of us to take those collective sparks and go make some flames, go make some fires. So to all of you who have joined us for the past 2 days, we are honored because we know there are a lot of people who maybe saw this and thought, what are they really going to do? Well, we've put up here in the last segment what we feel should come out of here. The good news is that we have enough people in enough positions of power, from myself being a broadcaster to 1 billion people during the Olympic Games and being an IAAF ambassador, to the people who are able to write the checks. And I can tell you already, this conference is a couple minutes from being over. I have seen a change in the thinking here. Our hope is that we can change the thinking outside of this country. Because what people are doing is they're remembering too why they fell in love with the sport in the first place. And they're not content to just sit in their offices and go, yeah, I love track and field, I love athletics, period. They're removing the period and putting a comma and saying, I love athletics. And because I was reminded of that and how great this sport is and what it was able to do for me, and what it was able to do for my people, and what it was able to do for my continent, and what it was able to do for this world that I live in. You just saw a panel that talked about how this sport of athletics has materially affected the lives of women all over the world. You listen to Wilson talk about the fact that the empowering impact that athletics has on the young women in his country is matched by nothing else. That's powerful. That means something. That makes sport, and this sport, matter a lot more than just the times and the records and the medals. So to all of you who have come to the Global Athletics Conference, I thank you. Thank the organizers for having had me as a part of this, and we want to extend a special thank you to everybody who has been involved in the organizing and the putting on of this conference. To all of you, thank you. Hope to see you next year.